Charlie Brown's Talkin' Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
By Vortex Optics, with the VIP warranty, their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.
And Quest Nature Tours, offering expert-led small group tours for bird and nature lovers since 1970. Explore exceptional journeys around the world at questnaturetours.com.
And Beautyo Books, an independent family-owned bookstore carrying one of the largest selections of birding books in the world. BeautyBooks.com.
Good morning. Welcome to our show number 911. Well, British Columbia, Canada, way out there in the western edge of Canada, has done a lot of good environmental things lately, not the least of which was to ban rodenticides that kill many raptors and other birds and other creatures as well. They've banned it all across their entire province. They've also provided us with a great contributor to our show, and that's Trevor Fletcher in Kelowna, British Columbia. And Trevor is making a contribution to our show today in the form of an Avian Audio Postcard from up there in Kelowna, British Columbia. Take it away, Trevor.
Hello, Ray. It's Trevor here in Kelowna. I'm just on Springfield Road. You can hear all the cars going by. And there's a little bush here that we go by. And it's just full of sparrows of all sorts. So it's really nice, even though there's so much traffic, that we can hear all of these little birds. It always brings lots of joy to us. Bye, Ray.
Thank you so much. Bye, Trevor. There's Trevor Fletcher checking out all sorts of sparrows and keeping clear of the Subarus zipping by there. Let's do a preview here of our mystery bird contest right off the bat here. This is the sound of our mystery bird. Well, before we do that, before we play the sound, a couple of notes about the mystery bird contest. And one is that we give kind of regularly here, which is that if you're not hearing our show live and therefore not able to enter our mystery bird contest, there is a workaround. All you have to do is go to talkinbirds.com, no G in talkin'. Click on the listen button there, and then just scroll down to listen live online. And it really is easy to do, very easy to do. The listen button there at talkinbirds.com. The only thing you need to remember in that context is that our show is on Sunday mornings, 9:30 to 10 Eastern. So that's when you can get the live stream, Sunday mornings, 9:30 to 10 Eastern. The other thing about our mystery bird contest, something we started a couple of weeks ago and will continue into the first week of February, is this. Every mystery bird contest winner in that time period will be entered into a drawing for a beautiful prize from our friends at Vortex Optics. It's an 8x42 Vortex Viper binocular. What a wonderful binocular this is, with an HD optical system for stunning resolution and color fidelity, edge-to-edge clarity. Kind of important, too, and one of the lightest and most compact full-size binoculars on the market. We'll show some love to the randomly chosen winner on our Closest to Valentine's Day show on February 12th. So a little extra thing in our mystery bird contest. All right, here's that mystery bird. This is a preview. There's more. Some clues here. Our mystery bird is a medium to large, chicken-like, thick-bodied bird with a short, rounded, partly black tail. White in winter, the bird rusty brown in summer, when the male displays a bright reddish-brown head and neck. Our bird sounds like it was saying Ohio, 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 but it's not really found in Ohio. It's mostly in northern Canada and Alaska, but occasionally seen in the upper Midwest states and western states of Montana, North Dakota, and Minnesota. It lives and feeds mostly on open tundra, especially in areas of grasses and mosses and herbs and shrubs. That's our mystery bird. And our prizes for today from Brome Bird Care, a Brome Squirrel Buster standard feeder, truly squirrel-proof. More details about it when we do the actual contest in just a bit. Our other prize is a 12-ounce bag of delicious, bird-friendly, shade-grown Birds and Beans coffee. If we have time for our bonus question, we have another bonus prize that we'll try to give away. And, of course, that eligibility for that Vortex binocular, all part of that contest. It's that time of year. Time to make sure that the coffee lovers on your gift list get some wonderful coffee for the holidays and into the new year. So we're happy to report that for a limited time, you can enjoy a 30% discount on an assorted case of 12-ounce bags of delicious Birds and Beans coffee. Birds and Beans is certified Smithsonian bird-friendly coffee and pays special attention to the ways coffee farming affects people and farms and forests and birds. It's a perfect bird-friendly gift for the holiday season. Order now before the offer ends in a couple of weeks. Just go to birdsandbeanscoffee.com to take advantage of this special 30% discount offer and get the perfect gift for the coffee lovers on your list. And that address again is birdsandbeanscoffee.com. We have a conservation salute today, conservation salute of the week. It goes to the American Bird Conservancy. ABC has just been awarded a 2022 top-rated nonprofit status by Great Nonprofits, a leading website for community recommendations of charities and nonprofits. And that adds to a whole list of other recognitions they've received for their good work as a charity, and one that really is efficient with the money they receive. And not only that, of course, but they do great work on behalf of birds and the planet. So this week's Talkin' Birds Conservation Salute goes to ABC, the American Bird Conservancy. Then there's this salute. It's to our Talkin' Birds ambassadors. Those are the folks that help us do our little thing to work and help birds and the planet. These are our Talkin' Birds ambassadors who hand out little cards we send to them, to their friends and neighbors, and help spread the word. Thank you to Marie Westerman from Akron, Ohio. Ohio. That bird we heard. But this time it's actually in Ohio, and that would be Marie. Thank you so much, Marie. And thank you to Gary from Sterling, Massachusetts. We mentioned that thing about rodenticides earlier. Gary, of course, is a great advocate for eliminating or reducing rodenticides, and he's been on the show with us 2 or 3 times. He says, working to get rodenticides out of our environment and save our raptors. That's his mission, and we are proud to have Gary as one of our Talkin' Birds ambassadors. And here's another ambassador saying why she is.
My name is Lori Lamb. I am from Forest Hills, New York. I love the Talkin' Birds show. Being a Talkin' Birds ambassador allows me to give back. I feel that I'm giving back to nature, giving back to birds, giving them a chance.
Talkin' Birds listeners, we hope you'll join our ambassadors family. Just visit our website, click on Get Involved at the top of the homepage, and then choose the Become an Ambassador option at talkinbirds.com.
Just a quick note to existing Talkin' Birds ambassadors, be on the lookout for an email from us, if you haven't received it already, about something kind of cool, we think. It's our new ambassadors map. Well, still to come today, we'll unwrap some cool book ideas for holiday giving when Alan Hale from Beautio Books joins us here in a couple of minutes. Also today, Mike O'Connor will be with us for a Let's Ask Mike segment almost live from the archive. And up next, we'll visit South Florida to find today's long and lanky featured feathered friend, presented by Birdwatching Magazine. For more than a quarter century, Birdwatching has been North America's premier magazine about wild birds and birding. Walking along a trail at the Corkscrew Swamp Sanctuary in West Naples, Florida, a couple of winters ago, we spotted a bird skulking in a tall bush, and we were pretty sure of its identity. With its slender body, downward-curving black bill, and long tail, we figured it had to be a black-billed cuckoo. But the color wasn't quite right, a little too gray, and we noticed the bird's black mask and buff-colored belly, and the clincher yellow on the underside of the bill. That didn't make it a yellow-billed cuckoo. It made it today's featured feathered friend, Coccyzus minor, the mangrove cuckoo. It's a tropical bird that's found almost nowhere in the U.S. except South Florida, foraging for caterpillars, grasshoppers, insect larvae, and sometimes bird eggs and nestlings in mangrove swamps, thickets, and scrub. The mangrove cuckoo used to be considered fully migratory, heading to the Caribbean and points south for the winter, but more and more individual birds are apparently remaining in South Florida throughout the year. Like other cuckoo species, the mangrove cuckoo has 4 toes on each foot in what's called the zygodactyl arrangement, 2 toes facing forward and 2 facing back. Other members of the mangrove cuckoo's family include the smooth-billed and groove-billed ani, and maybe surprisingly, the greater roadrunner. And our bird shares a nickname with its black-billed and yellow-billed brethren, rain crow, since these 3 cuckoo species seem to often call just before a rain shower. Today's Talking Birds featured feathered friend, one of the rain crows, Coccyzus minor, the mangrove cuckoo. Thanks for joining us. Welcome again to our show number 911. Well, books are always popular holiday gifts, and that certainly goes for bird-themed books, and we're about to get some expert recommendations in that direction as we welcome Alan Hale from Audio Books. Good morning, Alan. Hello, Alan. Are you there? I know you are there because I can see you.
Alan just has to unmute.
I think
there we go. Sorry about that.
Those pesky mute buttons. There's the key phrase, when it works, exactly. Well, Alan, you were with us about a year ago and offered some book ideas, especially as holiday gifts. So I wanted to ask you kind of what's hot this year. I think you have 5 particular books you'd like to mention.
Ray. I have 5 books, and these days, so many people, they can find all the answers on their cell phones. Mm-hmm. And indeed, cell phones do provide all sorts of information. You can look them up and find the answers. But I will argue that these books each have features that you can't find on your cell phone. And the first one I'm going to talk about is a new book on gulls of North America by Fred Schaefer III. There have been many books about gulls, and gulls are fairly challenging with age classes and winter and breeding plumages. Mm-hmm. But this, so many birders avoid trying to identify seagulls because of these challenges. But this book has wonderful color photos. The author says it's really a work of love, and that he spent years and years trying to get photographs that show the differences. It has fold-out plates comparing similar species, and one that two that are very, very similar. But once you know how to distinguish the two, I'm going to ask you this question. There's the black-headed gull and Bonaparte's gulls, and he divides them into size groups. And these two are very similar in size, and they both have black heads, but they have a very different feature that you can distinguish them. The black-headed is the European gull. So what do you think the difference between the black-headed and the Bonapartes, if you saw dozens of these similar-looking birds sitting around on a pond somewhere?
I'm going to go with bill color on that.
Yes, that's exactly right. The black-headed has a red bill, and the Bonapartes has a black bill. So it's a great little book, very handy. It's very reasonably priced at $19.99. And, of course, Schaefer gives a lot of credit to the many others who have worked on challenges of gulls, such as John Dunn and Steve Howell, who also did a book.
All right.
So the next book I want to talk about is a little bit different, and this one is called Female Heroes of Bird Conservation. by Rosemary Lowe, who is a person from England, and she has often had, since a very young age, kept parrots and then became interested in parrot conservation and doing things to prevent illegal trade in parrots. So female heroes that I wanted to mention, one is Althea Sherman, and these are earlier women who played major role. Althea Sherman was a pioneer in ornithology, and I think I mentioned that and she was born in 1853 and lived for 90 years. But the thing I found most interesting is she built a tower for swifts. You know what you do with a tower for swifts?
You provide them some home, a home there in a nesting location.
That's exactly right. Her tower, and I built a couple of swift towers myself, though lately, I'm sad to say, the numbers of our swifts, chimney swifts, are down. But she had a tower that was a tower within a tower. So the swift tower was in the center, and then there was this whole tower you could walk up and look into the other tower. And that was quite remarkable. And there's one, a replica of her tower that is in the graveyard where she is buried.
Female heroes of bird conservation. Alan, we're going to be really short on time here. I wonder if we can
so that book is $39.99,
yeah.
And it has both women who played a major role in history as well as those modern-day women who are leading the way in ornithology and conservation. The other three books I have are specific to certain regions. The first is Birds of the Squam Lake region, written by Beverly Ridgely and updated by his son, Robert Ridgely, the famous ornithologist who has done so much in South America.
And that's up in New Hampshire for that one.
Yes, this is the Squam Lakes in New Hampshire. And this book would be very useful for anyone in New England because the life histories are quite detailed. It has color photographs, and it is a tribute to Beverly Ridgely, who was a professor of French at Brown University for 40 years, but he had a place on Squam Lake. So that's a very, very interesting book.
If you don't mind, Alan, I'm just going to give you the titles of these other ones here because we are so short on time. But
okay.
A Birder's Guide to Minnesota is another one, Kim Eckert, 5th edition. And then a Birding Guide to the Greater Pasadena area, California, of course.
That's right. And each of these cover in detail the areas that they're in the title that you would have a hard time finding with maps and species accounts and all sorts of information.
I know all of these books are there at Buteo Books. Just in a few seconds, we have to mention this because this is an item that you're excited about as a stocking stuffer. It's kind of unusual. It's from Uncle Bill's Tweezers, and it's called the Sliver Gripper. Am I getting this right?
The Sliver Gripper. It is the best tool you will ever find for removing thorns or splinters. It has a very fine point, and at $6.50, you'll never get a better deal.
All right. The Sliver Gripper. All right. You can find that at Buteo Books, too. And Alan, I know you're heading to Panama. We'll look forward to hearing from you there and getting an audio postcard from you as well while you're down in Panama.
I'll certainly try to send you at least one.
All right.
Hopefully there'll be some great sounds.
Indeed, I'm sure there will. Alan Hale from Buteo Books. Find them and their marvelous selection of books and sliver grippers at buteobooks.com. Alan, thank you. Happy holidays and good luck on your Panama trip.
Okay. Thank you, Ray.
Up next, our Mystery Bird Contest in just 1 minute. The flutter of a tail feather, the flash of a wing bar in mid-flight. You don't always have a lot of time to identify a bird in nature, let alone to appreciate its beauty. But with Vortex Optics, you'll have the power to bring every wild moment closer. When you choose Vortex, you're choosing to have a partner in the field as passionate about nature as you are. Whether you're spotting old friends on the backyard feeder or packing for a once-in-a-lifetime trip to add a few species to your life list, Vortex offers a full range of optics and optics accessories for every birder and every budget. And whether the birds are taking you to another state or another country, you're always covered by the Vortex VIP warranty, an unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. If you'd like to learn more, or if you need help choosing your next optic, give Vortex a call at 1-800-4VORTEX or visit vortexoptics.com. There's our mystery bird. A medium to large, chicken-like, thick-bodied bird. Mostly in northern Canada and Alaska, but sometimes up in Montana, North Dakota, Minnesota, out in the tundra areas. That's our mystery bird. Beautiful prizes from Brome Bird Care. That's Squirrel Buster. Standard feeder really is squirrel-proof. And delicious coffee from Birds and Beans. And the eligibility to win that beautiful binocular from Vortex Optics. All at 781-837-4900. That's the number. And meanwhile, we'll check in with Mike O'Connor. It's a Let's Ask Mike, almost live from the archive in just 1 minute. Beauty-O Books carries one of the largest selections of birding books in the world. New, used, and rare books covering everything from backyard birding to general ornithology, from field guides to photography skills, biography, fiction, and humor. You'll find it all, along with the knowledgeable customer service you've been looking for, in one convenient place. BeautyOBooks.com. BUTEO. BeautyOBooks.com.
Quest Nature Tours has offered exceptional tours for bird and nature lovers since 1970. In 2023, join us to Quest for the Quetzal in Costa Rica or our brand new Zambia safari. See amazing wildlife and explore habitats with travel companions who truly enjoy nature. Talkin' Birds listeners receive a $150 credit towards their first tour. Visit questnaturetours.com today. Birds and much more. Guaranteed.
The Birdwatchers General Store, the legendary Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod, and he's about to join us on the phone here to tell us about the number one feeder bird, if I have this right, in America's backyards. Good morning, Mike.
That's right. According to Cornell's Project Feeder Watch, this is the bird that most people see in their yard. 80% of the people who put out feeders see this bird. Want to guess what it is, Ray?
Is it, let me see, it's just kind of a wild guess, dark-eyed junco.
Oh, man, you cheated. Exactly right. The dark-eyed junco, the bird that most people call snowbirds, because this is a bird that likes to eat in the woods, but when things get tough, they readily come to our backyards. When the woods get covered over and the fields get covered over, they don't care. They'll come right to our yards. And they come for what's their favorite food? Believe it or not, millet, the stuff we all make fun of. And we put in, in mixes and stuff to use as fillers, and, a lot of the chickadees and the nuthatches and the titmice have no use for, but the juncos will clean it up for you. And they're a very common, I think there's something like 600 million of these birds throughout North America, so they can be very common when things get tough. And you can identify them. Most of the time they're gray. They have a pink bill, and they have white flashes on their table, I guess the new word is now.
Right, on the table. They're right on the table.
On their tail, white flashing on their tail, which makes them easily identifiable when they come to the feeder. Now, I always complain about mixed seeds, so you can buy white millet separately and sprinkle that, or you can use mixtures, but then you end up with other stuff that the birds don't eat. But these birds are very interesting because they come in a lot of different subspecies.
Yeah.
Most people get the slate-colored juncos, but we also get the Oregon and pink-sided and gray-headed, and they're all the same bird, but we get these subspecies throughout the country.
It used to be called the slate-colored junco, right? And then that just became one of the subspecies. Am I right?
Correct. Yeah. Well, they had listed all these other birds as individual species, and they said, well, no, they're all kind of the same. They get all fancy with their DNA testing and stuff like that. So it's your dark-eyed junco. Put out a little millet, and you'll see the white flashing table, and you'll be all ready to go.
Watch for the table. Talk to you next week, Mike.
For over a quarter century, Birdwatching Magazine has been North America's premier magazine about wild birds and birding. Regular contributors include expert birders and authors such as Ken Kaufman, David Sibley, Pete Dunn, Laura Erickson, and others. Learn more at birdwatchingdaily.com.
Back to the Mystery Bird Contest. We'll hear our bird one more time here, if you don't mind, because it's kind of entertaining, sort of. A medium to large chicken-like, thick-bodied bird with a short, rounded, partly black tail. It seems to think it's in Ohio, but mostly in northern Canada and Alaska, and sometimes some upper Midwest states. What is that mystery bird? Let's go to Chris, who's in Albion, California. Good morning, Chris.
Hey, Ray.
Welcome to welcome. Thank you. Thanks for getting up early to call in here.
Oh yeah, I set my alarm at 6:15 and wake up every Sunday so I can listen live.
Well, thank you for that, and we hope we can reward you here maybe if things work out on the Mystery Bird Contest. And what do you think the bird is, Chris?
Well, I'm going to go with willow ptarmigan.
Willow ptarmigan is what you're going to say. That's the right ptarmigan as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yes, Lycopus. They tell us it's the only grouse in the world in which the male is regularly involved in parental care. So that's another little feather in its crown there. Yeah. So that's the right answer, willow ptarmigan. And not only that, Chris, but I say that again. I missed that.
Oh, I'm excited.
Oh, good. Well, let's see if we can get you more excited if you want to try our mystery bird bonus question here.
I love trivia, so
all right. This is kind of partly bird, and by the way, this is also from our friend Trevor Fletcher up in British Columbia, Canada. Thank you again for this, Trevor. So he says this, and this is a multiple choice question. An invasive species has moved into the Okanagan region of British Columbia, and wildlife experts say calls are increasing about these troublemakers. What is this invasive species? Is it A, Molophyterus otter, the brown-headed cowbird? Is it B, Passer domesticus, the house sparrow? C, Sciurus carolinensis, the gray squirrel? Or D, Touristus americanus, the American tourist?
Well, it's probably D for sure, but...
but other than that...
Well, interesting. I'm going to go with gray squirrel.
Gray squirrel. You had willow ptarmigan right, and now you've got gray squirrel right, so we'll give you a round of applause for that.
Yeah,
gray squirrel. So it turns out that these squirrels from down this way are almost twice as big as the indigenous squirrel species there in British Columbia. They're killing native squirrels and chipmunks and other small mammals. They also get into nests, kill birds, eat their eggs, and cause a lot of crop damage, especially in hazelnut plantations. So they're causing a lot of difficulty up there. And this is interesting, I think, and maybe cautionary. Wildlife experts say people often catch the squirrels and then relocate them, but that by doing that, they're just spreading the problem to new areas. So, relocating wildlife, I think, in general, is not a good idea unless some experts are involved there.
Well, we need some more kids with Red Ryder BB guns.
Chris, stay on the line and we'll get your info there.
All right. Thank you so much, Ray.
Thank you. Chris out in Albion, California, and that mystery birding, if you missed it, was the willow ptarmigan. We are pretty much out of time here for our show this morning. I know there was something particular I wanted to mention before we go, and that has to do with our Talking Birds flock. We have something like 466 members in the flock now, sharing all kinds of great pictures and stuff. It's our Talking Birds Facebook group. You can find it at facebook.com/TalkingBirdsFlock. On our show next week, two superstar birders, Wayne Peterson and Paul Basich, with a peek at the latest edition of the always fascinating and informative Birding Community e-Bulletin. That's it for today. Thanks for listening. See you next week.
The bird show. I like that. I love
Ray Brown's Talking Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com.
By Vortex Optics. With the VIP warranty, their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.
And Quest Nature Tours, offering expert-led small group tours for bird and nature lovers since 1970. Explore exceptional journeys around the world at questnaturetours.com.
And Beautyo Books, an independent family-owned bookstore carrying one of the largest selections of birding books in the world. Beautyobooks.com.